Discover the transformative power of Zen and the art of NLP. A lot more success with a lot less stress on Transformation Talk Radio. Every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific, Dr. Steve Simpson combines the principles of Zen philosophy with the techniques of Neurolinguistic programming to help you achieve your goals with ease and tranquility. Whether you're seeking personal growth, professional development, or improved relationships, this show offers practical strategies and insights to navigate life's challenges with a calm and focused mindset. Get ready to embrace a new level of success and serenity. Zen and the art of NLP starts now.
Hello everyone, it certainly does start now, today, because one of our greatest gifts is probably the one you never think about. It's your gift to copy others who achieve more than you do, otherwise known in NLP as modeling excellence. I'm Dr. Steve Simpson, and you are listening to Zen and the Art of NLP on Transformation Talk Radio. Today's headline topic is the power of NLP, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Do you know what Richard Bandler, the co-creator of NLP, thinks about the brain and how it works? Well, the three quotes today are all from Richard because that's how he would want it to be. Here he goes. The greatest personal limitation is to be found not in the things you want to do and can't, but in the things you've never considered doing. Brains aren't designed to get results. They go in directions. If you know how the brain works, you can set your own directions. If you don't, then someone else will. The best thing about the past is that it's over. The best thing about the future is that it is yet to come. The best thing about the present is that it's here now. It certainly is here now. And the source of these three inspirational quotes from Richard Bandler is from PCIalpha.com. So please stay with us for the next 30 minutes and let us help you experience that sweet spot of mind, body, and soul to embrace a new level of success and serenity, helping you achieve a lot more success with a lot less stress. And I hope that sounds good to you. Today, you will learn how to turbocharge the massive power of your mind using NLP skills to manifest abundant health, wealth, and happiness in all of their forms. Neurolinguistic programming, commonly known as NLP, is, according to the Collins Dictionary, a therapy designed to alter behavior by reprogramming unconscious patterns of thought. There's that word unconscious again, and we'll hear that many, many times. NLP was, as I said, co-created by Richard Bandler and also by Professor John Grinder in the early 1970s. They both worked in San Francisco. Bandler was a postgraduate computer programmer, and Professor Grinder was an academic expert in linguistics. They were both, without question, brilliant in their fields, and when they combined their considerable skills, the result was NLP. It's changed my life for the better without any shadow of doubt, and NLP can undoubtedly change yours too. An excellent place to start is to post your questions and comments, and I'll do my best to answer them in the final part of the show. If you're brave, you can also call in live on our live call-in number 1-800-930-2819. If you feel frustrated because you don't seem to achieve what you know you deserve from life when others do, the chances are that you've forgotten how to connect your mind the way it was designed to work. Step one to fix this is understanding how the NLP model was created and its core foundations. Where does the term NLP come from? Well, I did all of my training with Richard Bandler, including some advanced intensive training. And I asked him this question: where does it come from? And I don't know whether he was joking with me or whether he was being serious. You never know with Richard. But he said, I was driving around San Francisco late at night and I was stopped by the police. One of my brake lights had gone out or something. And I was in a bit of a panic because if I knew they were going to ask me my occupation. And if I said I was a postgraduate student, they would suddenly start to get very interested in wanting to search the car and search me to see what I might be having in my possession, so to speak. So he looked at the empty seat to the side of him and he saw a Journal of Neurology. So that's where the N comes from. He saw a book of linguistics. I don't know whether it was written by Grinder. It might have been. That's the L. And the P was, he saw some sheets of computer programming, which he had printed out to take home. So there you have it. Neurolinguistic programming, NLP, according to Richard, assuming he wasn't joking. But since then, hundreds of thousands and maybe even millions of people have been trained in NLP. These graduates come from all walks of life, including stars of stage, screen, and sporting arenas. Tony Robbins, a motivational speaker and self-help guru who you've almost certainly heard of, is the most well-known figure associated with NLP. He credits NLP with helping him develop his communication and persuasion skills, and he must be doing something right. Another person who's doing something right is Oprah Winfrey, the talk show queen. She's mentioned using NLP techniques for herself for self-improvement and audience management. Many other people, and that includes me, as you would expect, believe that NLP has changed how they think about themselves and the world around them. Bandler and Grinder were fascinated by individuals who produced results far beyond their peers. Their premise was, if they can do it, then so can we. We just need to discover their secrets. In other words, they were modeling excellence, one of the three foundations of NLP that I consider to be the most important. They're not the only ones, but these are the ones that I use all the time. They chose the field of psychotherapy for their research because during the 1970s, there were more than 300 disciplines of psychotherapy. Presumably, this indicates that none had any distinct advantage over the others. However, a few practitioners achieved results that were distinctly superior to their peers, and these were the role model examples that they studied, such as Virginia Satir, a highly effective family therapist, Fritz Perls, who went on to be the founder of Gestalt therapy, and Dr. Milton Erickson, commonly regarded as the doctor who helped to bring hypnosis into mainstream therapy. And Bandler and Grinder's preliminary conclusions were that these therapists used language and they used body language differently somehow. NLP describes this as the meta model of communication, a framework that helps us understand how language influences our thoughts and behaviors. This can't be underestimated. This is the second foundation of NLP. Individually, none of the role models knew about these differences and struggled to explain why their methods were so successful. The best they could come up with was that they felt their intuitive skills in some way were particularly solid. Dr. Erickson, he regarded hypnosis as the entry point to the unconscious mind again, but of course not the only one. They all agreed that the unconscious mind was far more critical than the conscious mind in therapy, which is the other way around to how a lot of therapists think about these things. Therefore, the unconscious mind's dominant power is NLP's third foundation. So step 2 is understanding the many valuable benefits of NLP coaching, which hopefully will convince you that the time and effort you make in NLP will be rewarded. Here are some of the commonly cited advantages, and I think that I probably tick all these boxes to some extent. Communication and interpersonal skills. NLP focuses on verbal and particularly non-verbal language. By becoming more aware of these patterns, NLP suggests you can improve your ability to connect with others, to build rapport and influence conversations. This word rapport is quoted quite commonly in NLP. Self-awareness and emotional intelligence. NLP techniques can help you better understand your thoughts and your feelings, and particularly where they come from. This awareness can improve your ability to identify the things that are important to you and to program authentic changes in your life. You're the person in charge here. Goal setting and achievement. NLP provides tools to break down significant goals into manageable steps and to identify limiting beliefs that might hold you back. This can make goal achievement more realistic and sustainable. Breaking things down we call chunking down, and we also sometimes chunk things up. That'll probably come in another show. Personal growth. NLP can be used to address negative thought patterns. Well, we've all got a few of those, haven't we? Such as self-doubt, fear of failure, or negative self-talk that can hinder personal growth. By reframing these thought patterns, NLP word here, reframing, NLP suggests you can build confidence, overcome fears, and reach your full potential. And improved relationships, the last of the benefits that I've listed of just a few. NLP enhances communicational and emotional intelligence, which can only help improving your relationships with friends, family, and colleagues. And to remind you, you're listening to Zen and the Art of NLP with me, Dr. Steve Simpson. We're going to take a swift break, but before we do that, as usual, take a moment to think about these three questions because they're all big ones. Question 1, what is the one thing that you desire the most? What is the one thing that's stopping you from achieving it? What is stopping you from achieving this thing that you desire the most? Because it's important we find that one out. And number 3, which is the one that you might not have thought so much about, maybe not even at all, but I think it just might be the most important. What is the one thing that you want to share with others? Because something happens when we share with others, we put out a frequency that resonates, and it's going to resonate with at least one other person on this planet, and I suspect many people more. When we return, step 3 is the big one, how to learn how to use some of the most essential NLP tools so that you can get working on this yourself, helping you achieve a lot more success with a lot less stress. Stay tuned and we will be right back. And we are right back. I hope you enjoyed pondering those 3 big questions during the break. The best way to connect with me, and I hope you do, is to check out my website, drstephensimpson.com. Sign up for my free weekly newsletter and discover plenty of other free stuff to explore, including the Zen Doctor and the Poker Genius podcast channels. If you are feeling rich, and again, I hope you are, you can also purchase some great books, hypnotic audio books, and coaching programs. I confidently recommend, as you would expect me to say, the Hypnotic Ring of Confidence audiobook with 28-day email support. If you have questions, I will reply. It will be me, and I will be with you on this journey, so you are not alone. Therefore, there are no excuses for not completing the 28-day program. It'll be worth it. The Hypnotic Ring of Confidence is a veiled collection of universal truths to appeal to the unconscious mind and can be applied to absolutely anything and anyone. So now, step 3. Learning how to connect to the power of NLP, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Trust me, I say this every week, this is a lot easier than it might sound. The good, bad, and the ugly. Well, the good, I'll come back to that shortly because I want to end with that last rather than the other way around. Okay, the bad. I've got a few things here to bear in mind. There are loads of people who set themselves up as NLP trainers all around the world, and there is no standard accreditation body. It varies from country to country and from person to person. So do your research, and my recommendation would always be you can't go wrong if you train with Richard Bandler or John Grinder. So there's some pretty poor training courses out there. NLP training is usually a bit on the expensive side, and sometimes the quality does not match it the way it should. And there are some pretty poor trainers and practitioners out there as well. And of course, some very brilliant ones who get excellent results. And for some of the NLP techniques, like everything in these so-called talking therapies, there's a pretty low evidence space for some to validate some of these techniques. Right, the ugly. Everything in life has a good, a bad, and an ugly. There's some unscrupulous marketing. As I mentioned, the courses tend to be a bit on the expensive side, so there's a lot of money to be made from people, and there are lots of people out there who are making money from all kinds of things at the moment, which are, probably not worth it. A thing that I worry about is some practitioners lack the medical and other skills to deal with complex issues. By and large, anybody can go on an NLP course, and that's fine, as long as they stick to looking after themselves, dealing with issues that they might have. It can certainly help you. But sometimes if people get tempted to try and help others, and I would advise not to, in fact, I'd say this requires expert training because some of the issues are very complex. And if you don't know what you're doing, it can be frightening for you, it can be frightening for the client, and it may not work out too good. As with any organization, there are cultish and fundamentalist influences. There's always some people who say, first of all, that this is the only thing you should ever do and everything has to be done in a certain way. Richard Bandler would never say that. He'd be the last person. He wants you to learn the basics and then have the confidence to adapt them to your own personal situation. Okay, the good. We'll get on to the good now, and I'll do some explanation. These are things that you can start doing immediately. We'll start with modeling excellence because that was the first foundation. The reason why we do that is don't reinvent the wheel. If it ain't broke, why pull it to pieces and try something different? Model excellence. And there's so many different ways you can do that now. So just for a moment, going back to your questions, the questions that I posed before the break, what's your greatest desire? Now, who in the world do you know, either through media or personally, and they can even be alive or dead, who's the person that is the best at this, at what you want to do? Because they're going to be your role model. I know that that actors do things like this. I mean, there's a thing called the Stanislavski method, and also method acting itself, where basically the actors immerse themselves in the personality, so that when they do it for long enough, they actually feel they are that other person. And as we've mentioned in previous shows, we've only got 5 senses. These are the senses that you'll be using to the maximum amount possible. What you see, what you hear, what you feel, what you taste, and what you smell. And because of the world we live in now, we've got so many resources available. We can get videos of our role model, we can get articles, we can get interviews. We can sometimes even contact them directly ourselves and be surprised that very often these people do reply. The second foundation was the meta model of language. You don't need to remember the word meta, but it'll come up from time to time. But you do need to remember language because it is just so important. When I introduced this topic, I mentioned the word reframe. Reframe is one of the first things that you learn in NLP, and it's probably something that you'll keep with you for life and will drive the people around you absolutely crazy, because you will hear lots of people saying negative things, and they're trying to dump some of this some of this negativity on you and bring you down to their level, which is not what you want to do. So if you don't have if you've got to spend a bit of time with these people, you've got to slip in a reframe. And an example, when you get used to this, you can have a reframe for absolutely anything. Sometimes it can be a bit funny and people laugh, but there's nothing wrong with people laughing. So let's say you're talking to somebody and you normally say, how's the day going? And the floodgates open. All these bad things. Now, you were really just making polite conversation, but now you have to kind of sit back for about 5 minutes and listen to all these bad things a day. And when the person takes a breath, you can say, I don't think that can be true. There must have been at least one good thing that's happened to you today. And that'll make them pause because you've broken that language loop. And they'll have a little think and their eyes will go up and down in their head a bit. And they'll say, yeah, funnily enough, there was one thing. You say, well, why don't you tell me what that is? And then, you're changing the brain chemistry in another person and you're doing them a big favor and you're doing yourself a big favor too. Now, I was having this conversation with a professional poker player yesterday, and these things are called the modal operators of necessity. Don't worry about the words, but basically these are words that we have to eliminate from our vocabulary because they cause us a lot of unnecessary pressure. They're used by coaches as good things, but trust me, they're not. Words such as need, I need to do this, must, I must do this, have to, I have to do this before breakfast or before what? Replace those words. Now, obviously, there are things that we all have to do. Have to do, yeah. But let's replace them by what are called modal operators of possibility, which is, I'm going to choose to do this today. I like doing this, which I'm going to do today. I'm excited because today I will be doing this. Count these, you see, these are words of possibility. And once we explore the world of possibility, as we mentioned in the program last week, all kinds of good things can happen. And banish the word impossible from your vocabulary. If that's the only thing you remember from today, never hear yourself say that word impossible, because there is nothing that's impossible. There are some things that we don't know how to do, but that doesn't make them impossible. Hypnosis, well, that'll be a separate show, but just let's plant a few seeds. Hypnosis is a form of communication that we all have. It probably went to the back of our brain when we started to learn to talk relatively late in our evolutionary journey, but it's still there. And there are people who are very good at hypnosis. Naturally, they don't even know they're doing it. People who can tell a story, people who use metaphors in their language, because the unconscious mind loves stories, it loves metaphors, it loves music, and it loves the voice, as long as the voice is delivered in a particular way. My shows and hypnotic audio books do contain both overt and covert hypnotic elements, because that's what I've been trained in. And you'll recognize when I'm switching from normal to overt and covert, once you recognize the signs, you'll notice a little change in my language. And I'm not trying to brainwash you. These are just things that I think your unconscious mind is going to be interested in, and it will make the decision as to how it's going to use this, if ever. My shows, the key here, which is something we've mentioned before, we mention on every show, practice regularly. The more you practice some of these things, connecting to the power of NLP, the good, bad, and the ugly, the easier it will be. The first 6 episodes have given you a gentle introduction to how the mind works and how we can begin to influence its direction toward a higher level of personal performance. This episode, episode 7, highlights how the NLP movement started, how it evolved, and what it can do for you. I've mentioned NLP a few times and Zen even less during the show so far, but as we move forward, each show will now focus on one of the main elements of NLP. I will also mention Zen techniques more frequently, because NLP Zen can be a high octane cocktail that propels performance to at least the next level. Commit to watching or listening to future shows. Your NLP skills will build at a rate and speed appropriate to you. This is different for every person. Use it or lose it. Sometimes the tortoise beats the hare, and sometimes the hare beats the tortoise, but this is not a race. Now it's my favorite part of the show. It's the NLP top tip of the week. It's the Zen and the Art of NLP top tip of the week. And here it is. Commit to watching or listening to future shows. Your NLP skills will build at a rate and speed appropriate for you. This is different for every person. Use it or lose it. This is the easy way to a lot more success with a lot less stress. So thanks for joining us today. We've got a great show lined up for you on the same day, at the same time, and at the same place next week. Be there and invite all your friends and family and everybody else too, particularly the people you don't like, because who knows, you might get to like them and they might get to enjoy you. Let's all raise the vibration of our world to a higher frequency, which certainly needs it. Finally, don't forget to check out my website, drstephensimpson.com. So thanks for joining us today, and I look forward to meeting you all again next week. In the meantime, embrace the 3 foundations, and goodbye for now.
You have been listening to the Zen and Art of NLP. A lot more success with a lot less stress. Tune in every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio as we dive into the depths of your unconscious mind and awaken your intuition, unlocking hidden talents and supercharging your personal and professional relationships. Continue embarking on a stress-free journey towards unparalleled success by subscribing to future episodes and stay updated on the latest content. Easily share these captivating shows with your loved ones and create meaningful connections. Book a personal session with Dr. Steve Simpson to delve deeper into the topics that resonate with you. You can visit his website at drstephensimpson.com.